Hello and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Paula, and I was on Erasmus Plus internship mobility during the spring semester. And I was doing it during my thesis process. And I was working with the internship partner Connect Natura in Spain. First of all, exciting that you're all going on mobility soon. And I hope this webinar will help you to get more insights and be looking even forward more to this experience. So about my internship, so what I've done and what I've learned, I was working in an environmental NGO on the ground, and I was there collecting data for my thesis. So while I was doing this mobility, I was in Valencia, which is located in the east of Spain. And my days were quite, or like my weeks were quite balanced between work on the ground, which was located in the countryside, and then applying the knowledge and the insights and also the data that I collected, and then applying it in the city where I was living, actually to the thesis writing process. Then during this time, I could really improve my Spanish and also learn a little bit about the local dialect, and of course get deeper insights in the functioning of the rural life there and also into the culture. But due to Corona, I had there were quite some limitations to the work of the NGO, because normally they work with a lot of volunteer participation. But this was, because of Corona, not really possible. So, but nevertheless, I could get then deep insights into how this organization worked, how they were structured, and really get to know the people of the organization and then work together with them. And it was really nice. Then, how did Corona affect my mobility? What were restrictions and opportunities? The traveling was limited during my time, and then additional costs arose because I had to take several tests before coming and several tests before leaving again. And so this was one aspect, how Corona influenced my mobility. Then there was a curfew at night. So I think at 10 we had to be at home, which is not super late, but if you want to stay out longer, then you cannot, or if you just have dinner with another person, then you have to be home by 10. And we were also not allowed to leave the city on the weekends. This kind of was different than I had expected, because I was planning on actually traveling a little bit, and at least on the weekend, get to know the surroundings. But yeah, so then we kind of were playing tourists in our own and holidays in our own city. But then I got really deep insight into the city and all the different locations there, and interesting corners and all the secret beautiful spots and the best cafes. And that was nice. So it's also quite fun to just like play tourist in your own city and then treat yourself and say like, okay, then I'm actually going to this nice cafe now. Here you also see that we're playing holidays at home. So this is, you see on the picture, you see my balcony and the view on the market. So yeah. Also the life in the city was a bit calmer than normally. Well, I have not been there before, but this is what people have told me. So there was normally a big carnival that then couldn't take place, and the life in the streets was of course limited, and especially the cultural events could not take place. So the impression I got from the city is a really, calm one. So for me, I kind of have to keep in mind that this is not the normal thing, but this is like because of Corona. But I still personally had a really good time, and I would do it again. And the time was passing really quickly. So I would also recommend you to actually really use the time you have. And if you think like, should I go now or not, just go, because like the time is really short. So you can do the trips and meet people and get a broad impression of the place and the culture. If you have the possibility, you should definitely do it because it's really nice. And of course, like, respect the local regulations and don't put anyone at risk. Then challenging, it was a little bit to prepare everything for the exchange, but this was not specifically due to Corona, I would say, because I was like preparing so I'd prepared all before January. So actually during the semester, while I was doing all my uni stuff, I also had to prepare my exchange. But so yeah, I think, I don't know in which stage you are right now, but like, see how to sublet your room, search for a room there, see how you can travel there and things like this. See if you have to take a test, when to take the test and stuff. And yeah, it might seem like a lot of effort, but it's manageable and it's definitely worth it doing it, because then you have some month of a really nice experience in another country. And this, of course, might also be more complicated because of Corona, but it's definitely feasible. So you just have to keep your eyes open on the regulations and yeah. And like sometimes, for example, you have to show the rental agreement to actually enter the place, or university papers. Yeah, so just keep an eye on the regulations. I don't know if also your national government might have like a summary website where kind of this, also the summary of the regulation of another country are listed in your own language. Yeah. So then everything you do, try to protect yourself and others as good as you can, because you also sometimes might need to justify yourself in front of others. You know, that people ask you, yeah, but why are you actually traveling? How did this Corona? Isn't it super dangerous and blah? So yes, of course they're right. Like, actually the idea is that we shouldn't move during the pandemic. But I think if you say it's a really important experience for you, and I mean, you have to be in some place. And I think it's especially the traveling that is more risky. But like, you take this risk to actually be for some month in another country and have your everyday life there. Yeah, but maybe then point out the safety measures you're actually taking, and that you take different tests, and that you're quarantining when you get there and things like this. Yeah, and maybe then think about it if you, in these few months, really have to travel again, travel home, get your friends to visit you, you know, so like limit the amount of moving of you and of other people to limit the risk of infection. Then I think it's also really important to consider that we are in a really privileged position to actually be able to move and travel and have these new experiences, while other people are actually in lockdown or facing problems due to the pandemic. So I think this can like help that we can appreciate the experience even more. Yeah, so then some things to consider. Maybe, is there a way you can get to your destination via land? So take the train, the bus, maybe if you're going with several people, get a shared car or something. I mean, this is of course for environmental reasons. And this is also maybe an incentive, is that there's the Erasmus travel grant that you get. So Erasmus is actually paying your travel there if you take the travel via land. And I was taking the train, so it took me 14 hours. But I mean, if you start a trip and you say, okay, I'm going to be on the train for 14 hours, it's actually not too bad. And I think it's nice to have this transition, to actually not like start from a place and immediately be in the other one, but like have some time to actually reflect on how has it been before and now how is it going to be now. Yeah. Then, as I said, check the changing regulations and measures in the countries you're traveling through, not only where you go to, but also the ones you're traveling through, because there you also might need a test or other certificates. And then adapt to the local regulations. I mean, it might seem strange for me, for example, coming from Sweden now, and where you don't wear a mask at all, and where you're not super limited in your everyday life than coming to Spain, where you have to wear a mask as soon as you get the house until you enter the house again. So everywhere you sit on the beach and you wear a mask. So this was quite different, but I think it's important to respect the regulations and adapt to them. Then to make the best out of the stay, also during Corona, although this might seem to constrain you a lot, I think there's a lot of possibilities to still have really nice experiences. For example, you can search for a tandem partner, maybe in the university, or maybe among your flatmates, or I don't know, maybe just ask the people you get to know there if they want to be your tandem partner to actually be able to improve the language. Then also keep the contact to your classmates there, but also maybe to your classmates here. So like that you have this exchange of, just like have people around you, even if it's just in the virtual space. And also now you among each other, maybe that you're going on mobility, maybe you can also give each other advice and support. So yeah, because it's not super easy always to find new friends in a new place during a pandemic, but yeah, I think you will manage. Then apart from the tandem partners, there's also shared flat or student housing. So if you're looking for a place to stay, maybe especially now, it's important to actually have a place where you live where there's other people, so that you already at home kind of have this personal contact, and maybe also have your friends already at home. Then, of course, the activities, the hobbies you can do are maybe limited, but there's a lot of outdoor activities that you can do, of course, depending on the location where you're going. But at least here now it's summer, so, and maybe in the countries you're going to as well. So yeah, there's the possibility to have picnics in the park and yoga in the park and different other sports events and meet for fun things. So get creative and yeah, you'll manage. Yeah, then stay safe and dive into the experience and this adventure, as I've been diving into this lake during my internship. And if you have any questions, then please just feel free to contact me. I put my email on the slides. Maybe I can also write it to Isabel that she can just pass it on to you. So feel free to contact me. Yeah, enjoy the rest of the webinar, and I wish you a really, really nice day.